This yoga sequence for beginners can be a great way to start your practice or to get back to the basics. Grab your mat, your blanket, and join Yogi Richard and myself. Let's get started. Come into a comfortable seat. Close your eyes. The hands can rest on the thighs or knees, palms down or palms up. And we want to take the first few moments here to settle into this space. Become aware of your surroundings. Become aware of yourself. Feel yourself sitting here. Feel all the areas of the body that are touching the floor, support beneath you. Feel the air on the skin. And feel yourself breathing. Let the breath move in and out of the nose. And if it's available to you, establish your belly breath so that the inhale through the nose gently expands the belly, the navel drops forward. And as you exhale, the navel gently pulls back toward the spine and the breath is released through the nose. The belly breath begins to stimulate the rest and relaxation response in the body and helps us to be more present. The hands come together at heart center, a gentle pressure between the palms, rooting down through the sitting bones, lengthen up through the spine, the top of the head reaches to the sky. The breath smooth and steady. And let's take a collective releasing breath here. Inhale deeply through the nose. Side out. Releasing the hands to the lap, keeping the eyes closed for 2 to 3 more belly breaths, using the breath as a way to set the foundation for the practice. When you feel ready, slowly opening the eyes and transition to tabletop pose onto hands and knees. So you want to have your wrists underneath the shoulders, the knees underneath the hips, and then depends on how your knees feel. You can either have the tops of the feet to the floor or the toes are tucked under. And then if there's too much pressure on the wrists here, you can always walk the wrists forward about 1/2 inch. And when you inhale, gently begin by dropping the belly down, reach the heart gaze forward. And as you exhale, tuck the tailbone, round the spine, and relax the head. And do that 2 more times on your own. The inhale, belly drops. The heart gaze forward. The exhale, the tailbone tucks down, rounding the spine. Relax the head. 1 more. Now with your next inhale, return to tabletop back, and then touch the toes and widen the knees, child's pose. The big toes are touching, the knees are wide, and we want the knees wide enough that it's opening on the hips, but not so wide that the back doesn't feel supported. So you want to have that comfortable so the whole back is supported, the heart can relax down. And for this variation, the forearms can touch down to the floor, the forehead is touching something. So either the floor, if you ever need to, you can have a block underneath the forehead as well. Taking 2 to 3 more breaths here. Beautifully done. Now with your inhale, slowly bring yourself up to table. And as you exhale, find your way onto your belly, coming down in a way that's comfortable for you. Once you're down, you can stack your hands or your forearms, rest your forehead on center, and we want to create space in the low back. Lift the right leg off the floor just a few hinges, not higher than the hip, and reach out through the big toe. Release the leg. Do the same on the other side. Lift. Lengthen out through the big toe as if I was pulling on the leg, and then release the legs down. And now again, checking in with the knees. Either the tops of the feet are relaxed to the floor or the toes are tucked under. Take another breath here. This is already a gentle back bend on the spine, and today this might be enough for you, and this is also where you can stay. If you feel comfortable to continue moving into a deeper back bend, we'll go into Sphinx. So the tops of the feet will be to the floor. You'll lengthen out of your pelvis as you inhale to gently lift the head, the heart forward, and the forearms come to the floor. The elbows land just underneath the shoulders, a little bit forward is fine, and the forearms are parallel to each other, fingers are wide. Good, the heart is reaching forward and you're still pressing down through the feet and out through the toes. You want to feel that support of the legs, the muscles in the legs all the way through the back. Another breath here, the heart gently reaching forward. The breath is smooth and steady. Now inhale here. And as you exhale, slowly release down onto your right ear. The arms will go down by your sides, next to the hips with the palms up. If this is not available to you with your neck, you can again stack the hands or the forearms and bring your forehead onto that pillow instead. 2 more breaths here. Deep breath so that you feel the low back lift and lower as you breathe. One more belly breath. The inhale is expansive, the belly expands, you feel it press against the floor, the low back lifts, and then as you exhale, gravity takes over, the low back falls down towards the floor. Good. Building locust pose, a variation of Shalabhasana. You'll keep the arms by your sides, but bring the palms to the floor and the forehead to center on the floor. Good, so we want to keep the palms pressing down and engage the muscles of the legs and check in that the legs here are hip width apart or a little bit closer. The muscles of the legs are hugging in towards the bone. Press the tops of the feet down and then lengthen out through the toes. And when you're ready, the inhale lifts the head, the heart forward, and the shoulder blades pull down towards the pelvis. The hands lift off the floor. Steady breath here. This is already a lot of work here on the back. You're working the muscles of the back and a little bit in the deep core. If you want a little bit more and more in the core as well and for the low back, lift the legs off the floor. Keep the muscles engaged. The glutes are firm, but we're not squeezing the muscles into midline. So the buttocks is firm. You're reaching out through the toes. Take another inhale here. With control, as you exhale, slowly release the legs, the arms, and come down onto your left ear, or if you need to, resting on your hand or forearm pillow with your forehead on center. 2 more breaths here. Deep belly breaths. One more breath here. Remember, the tops of the feet don't have to be to the floor here. If that doesn't feel good, your toes can be tucked under instead. So doing what's best for you here. And once you've completed that 3rd breath, the forehead will come to center on the floor, making our way off the floor into child's pose. The hands go underneath the shoulders, palms down, elbows back. You'll inhale up through table and into child's pose. Nicely done. Forehead touches down again to something. Good, and take 2 more deep breaths here. So we want to give our body a chance, our spine a chance to rest after the work that we just did with the back bends. Another full belly breath. We want to feel the belly expand towards the floor, between the thighs. And as you exhale, actively drawing the navel back toward the spine, relaxing the jaw, the muscles around the eyes. And then from here, with your next inhale, you'll press up to table. And as you exhale, come onto your seat and then onto your back. Good. Readjusting here if you need to. Then once you're on your back, you can hug the knees into the chest, holding around the shins or behind the thighs. Easy breath here, maybe rocking side to side. Gentle massage on the spine. And then return to center spine. Place the feet down for bridge. We want the feet touching down to the floor. The ankles relatively under the knees. If your feet need to be a little bit wider than the hips, that's fine. Just keep the legs parallel to each other, the feet parallel, the toes point forward. And then bend at the elbows 90 degrees so the palms face each other, the fingertips point up. I tend to call this robot arms. And you want to tuck the shoulder blades under. So you want to feel the shoulders glued down to the floor, the feet stable. And with your inhale, root down through the feet and bring the hips up. Good. Exhale here, hold the pose, keep breathing. The knees remain over the ankles. The legs are hugging in towards each other without moving. So we have that engagement towards midline. The buttocks is firm, but not squeezing in towards midline. So firm buttocks, the glutes are firm. You're rooting down through the shoulders, the jaw relaxed, but the lips closed. Another breath. Hold the pose. Inhale here. Now, as you exhale, begin to lower down one vertebra at a time, touching down the low back, the pelvis last. Good. Now you can pause here if you like. You can have the knees go side to side. You can also hug the knees into the chest and either keeping your robot arms, or you can have the arms by your sides with the palms up. When you're ready, we'll do that one more time, setting the feet, ankles under knees, the toes point forward, away from the gaze. Good. And then from here, yep. And bring the knees up, building bridge. Good. And then the arms come into robot arms as he has them here, the shoulders glued down. Good. And then press down through the feet. And again, with your inhale, lift the hips up, stay here, exhale. Keep the position up. If you want to go a little bit further, you can bring your hands underneath the hips for a clasp, interlacing the fingers, rooting down through the shoulders, lengthening the clasp towards the feet, the heart lifting up towards the ceiling. One more breath here. Remember, you're pressing down through the feet. If you feel your feet are slipping forward, then you actually need to come down and reset the feet so the ankles are more underneath the knees. And then we move the hands out from the clasp, coming into robot arms. With your exhale, slowly lower down, one vertebra at a time. Nicely done. And then hug the knees into the chest. And rocking the body side to side, massaging the back. And then the feet will come to the floor, roll onto your comfortable side, and slowly bring yourself up again, facing the short end of your mat. And take your time, extend the legs out in front of you. If you need extra support for your back, you're going to place a blanket underneath your hips. We want the hands in line with the hips, the palms down, fingertips point forward. And then your inhale helps to lengthen the spine, the heart up, the shoulders are broad, the top of the head over the pelvic floor. And the pelvic floor here is between the sitting bones. This is Dandasana staff pose, the toes pointing up. The feet are flat as if against an imaginary wall. If you ever need to take a slight bend in the knees for the hamstrings or the back, please do so. We're here for 2 more breaths. Feeling the lengthening up through the back, the pressing down through the hands. Another breath. And then from here, bound angle, bring the soles of the feet together. You can use your hands to help, and bring the heels in as close towards the body as you can. There should be no pulling or pain on the inner thigh or groin. And then root up, down through the sitting bones, and again, lengthen up through the top of the head, up through the spine. Good. And now you're either holding at the ankles. If that's not available to you, you can also hold at the base of the knees. Now we're never to press the knees down. We allow gravity to do that work for us. The soles of the feet are hugging, the knees are falling away. If you need the feet to open, they can open like a book, but keep the back edges of the feet, the little toe sides, glued together. Another inhale here, sitting tall. Letting the hips open. And then use your hands to close the knees together as if closing a book. Extend the legs out in front of you, and use your hands to bring yourself down onto your back. And from here, taking gentle twists, you'll bend the right knee, place the right foot to the floor, and now root down through the foot, lift the hips up, and slide the hips to the right about an inch. Good, the hips touch down, place the right foot on the left thigh, and your left hand on the right knee. Yep, other left. Yep, good. And now let your whole body go to the left. The right hand goes in front of you like a kickstand, stacking your shoulders, your hips. Now, once you have that, the right arm goes up towards the ceiling. Yep, you'll drop the shoulder blade down towards the floor and slowly open up, keeping the right knee heavy to the floor. Good, the right shoulder heavy towards the floor, and then maybe the gaze goes to the right, deepening that twist all the way up through the neck. So going only as far with the back and the neck that feels comfortable for you. And it's okay here if the shoulder doesn't touch all the way down. It's okay if the knee doesn't touch all the way down, because we're on the floor, we're supported. Another breath. And take your time, come back to center. Readjust the hips if needed. Good, and then we switch legs. The right leg goes long. Press down through the left foot, float the hips up to the left an inch, drop the hips down. Now place the left foot on the right thigh, the right hand on the left knee. Really common here to get confused, right? It happens. Good. Now when you're ready to go into that twist, you first want to go all the way onto your right side. And look here, he's stacking the shoulders and the hips. The top hand touches down to the floor. Once you feel stable, the arm goes up. Now watch this too. The shoulder blade drops down, head of the arm bone plugs in, a slight bend in the elbow as he opens up towards the other side. On this side, he's comfortable twisting his neck to that side, so his gaze follows. Good, letting the shoulder relax down towards the floor. Nicely done. 2 more breaths here. Easy breaths. If you ever find that this is too much on the shoulder, on the opening side, you can always have a blanket there ready to support you in this twist. Now when you're ready, you'll slowly come out of this shape, bringing yourself onto even hips. Yep. Readjust the hips if needed. And then you can either hug both knees into the chest or take a few windshield wipers. See what feels best for you. What each of us need at any given time to harmonize and balance our body will be different. So make sure to honor that for yourself. What do you need before Shavasana, before your resting shape? When you feel that your stretches, your movements are even on both sides, you can slowly move into your Shavasana, your corpse pose. And for corpse pose, you'll want to extend the legs out long on the mat, maybe placing a blanket under the knees if you need that support for the back. If it's too much for you to extend the legs, you can always bend the knees and have the feet to the floor, and knees can touch at midline. Arms by your sides with the palms up. Closing the eyes. You can also have an eye pillow nearby and put that on the eyes, maybe a blanket across the hips. And we'll be here for about 5 minutes. If you want to have a longer Shavasana, just pause the video, stay there longer. Enjoy your rest. awareness returns to the breath. And feel the navel rise and fall as you breathe. Feel your body as you start to wiggle the toes and the fingers. You can point and flex the feet and open and close the hands a few times as if you're squeezing sponges. Maybe rock the head side to side, waking up the neck. And then you can either hug the knees into the chest or take windshield wipers, rocking the body or the legs side to side, waking up the back. And roll onto your comfortable side when you feel ready, resting in the fetal position, stacking your hips, your shoulders. Support your head with your bottom arm, the top hand like a kickstand in front of you. 2 to 3 breaths here in this transition. And still keeping the eyes closed. When you feel ready to come up, you'll press the top hand into the floor in front of you. Inhale to come up through your side. The bottom hand joins in to help. And return into a comfortable seat, maybe the same way as you had started. Sitting tall, the hands come together at heart center. And with gratitude, we'll close with a single Om. Receive your breath. Bowing head to heart in honor of each other, ourselves, and this practice. Thank you so much today for joining us. We hope to see you soon. Namaste.
Namaste.